Hello and welcome to another session of Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen and these are my colour conversations. In this session, we'll be examining another one of those monthly readings for your birthday month. So let me firstly welcome those of you who've been following this series. And if you're new here, you're also welcome. And if you like what you hear, you might like to subscribe. It's free. This month, because I can, I've decided to add some oracle cards, and the ones I've chosen for this month are Doreen Virtue's Life Purpose. Might not apply to everybody, but these are general readings, and so if you take what resonates with you, maybe come back another time and listen if it doesn't quite click straight away. Anyway, enjoy. Right, this is the colour reading for people born in the month of April for June 2025. And we'll begin with a oracle card, which I won't shuffle too far because I'm not very good at it. All right. These are also extremely slippery. Very well. I'll pop that there, and hopefully it will tie everything together at the end of the reading. So we want a colour reading for people born in April for the month of June 2025. What you bring in with you to the month of June is blue on orange. Pink on yellow permeates the majority of the month, and you leave June with white on green. And the underlying energy is pink on pink. So let's look at this. If we examine this reading, you'll notice that there is one colour that's repeated 3 times. That is the colour pink. Pink occurs as the action in the majority of the month, but it also occurs as the underlying energy for both action and motivation throughout the entire month. When a combination of colours is the same top and bottom, we always have a bit of a problem, because what it says is that there is an inability to react in the real world any different to the actual feelings in the internal world. And pink on pink is the ultimate baby colour. This is the colour combination that is associated in the tarot with the Queen of Wands. It's someone who wants what they want, when they want it, how they want it, and there will be no brooking of any changes whatsoever. The Queen of Wands is actually a fire sign, yet there isn't much fire in the pink colour, although if one considers this as the ultimate baby, then as those of us who've been associated with babies know, babies can make an awful lot of noise, and that's part of what this colour combination entails. There is a feeling of vulnerability inside, an inability to do anything for themselves that requires this person to ask for assistance or demand assistance or accept whatever assistance is handed out to them. In the real world, all of that demanding and asking and vulnerability to others' help actually results in other people coming to their assistance. And that combination floods the entire month with its power, because the queen of any of the suits in the tarot is always a rather powerful figure, and there is no exception here. Even though it's pink on pink, it still means that there is a great deal of power underneath all of this. In many ways, a baby is very controlling. It's controlling because of the small amount of red in the energy of that pink, but also because the control has to do with the demands made upon other people for the sorts of assistance that is required. and they generally get it. People don't tend to leave babies to fend for themselves. They are looked after by others. And so they are able to achieve quite a lot by not doing very much of their own accord. And that's what this combination is all about. Now, what do you bring into the month of June with you? Well, here we have blue on orange. Orange is the underlying need, drive, motivation that comes from inside, and blue in the external world is what you're actually doing as a result of that need or drive. The interesting feature about blue and orange is that these two colors are opposites on the color wheel. And so therefore you have this swinging from one extreme to the other. Orange is about confidence. It's about survival. It's about the need to be able to stand up, do what you want to do, get what you want out of life, and be able to do so in a very assertive manner. But it's a need, it's a drive. In the real world, there is some sort of restriction. Blue in the real world is always about duty. It's about responsibility. It's about understanding your place in the sequence of things. So regardless of the need or drive for wanting to get things your own way, in the real world, there are restrictions to that. You need to just basically be quiet, do as you're told, get on with the job, don't complain. That's what the blue in the real world is all about. But at the same time, blue on orange is also a tarot card combination that is associated with the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands, as we know, is called victory. And in many respects, that's exactly what happens here. You have the confidence, the courage, the ability inside to be able to create peace and calm and some sort of stability in the external world. And that makes for a rather comfortable combination, particularly when it's linked with this pink that you have here as the underlying energy, because the pink says, I want it all for myself, and this says, I have attained that for myself. By the time we get into the majority of the month, things have changed somewhat. Pink now becomes the main driver in the external world, whereas yellow becomes the driver of the internal world. When yellow is internally, it nearly always is associated with some sort of fear, trepidation, some sort of anxiety. It's a need for happiness. It's a need for things to be more pleasant, more likable in the real world. But because it remains a need internally, the lack of that happiness, the lack of that success that yellow tends to encompass means that there is a lot of anxiety associated with those particular skills. In the real world, what has happened here is that there is some form of inability to get things done. And this combination, pink on yellow, resonates with the tarot card known as the Four of Swords. It's having to recuperate. So whatever the triumph was that occurred here as a result of this underlying energy of I want, I want, I want, I must have, and having succeeded in getting that, now comes to a state in the middle of the month by which time you're now more likely wanting to step back and just allow the world to pass you by while you reconsider the things that you have managed to achieve or have given to you, or in other words, obtained through the benefits that come from these demands down here that have been met by other people over here. By the end of the month, we now have white on green. Now, white on green is also resonating with a tarot card, and this time it's the card called Death. There is an entire change that is going to happen by the end of the month, whereby you have to leave behind all of these demands, all of these successes, all of this having to rethink and reevaluate and re-examine what it is that you actually want and actually have achieved through the wants that you had previously. And now you need to set up a clean slate in the real world and find new pastures, because the internal urge is one of leave the past behind, forgive, forget, whatever happened back here, it goes, and you need to move on to a new life. Pink and green are pretty well opposites on the color wheel. And because of this, it means that all of this desire, all of this demanding of stuff for yourself now has to be let go. And in letting it go, new horizons beckon, new opportunities bring themselves towards you. They're not opportunities that you can recognize as such. They may even be quite frightening, because white is an enlightenment that occurs as a result of a sudden shock of some sort. So yes, there is every chance that the shocking situation that occurred as a result of this demanding energy that you have back here has now resulted in you being able to set off on a new path. So let's have a look at what's missing, because there we have the keys to what you can do about it. Well, for a start, there's no black. You do have white. There's no red. You have yellow. You have green. You have blue. There is no brown. There is no, sorry, you do have orange. There is no grey. There is no purple. You have more than enough pink, but there is no cyan. So what we have here are the skills and attributes, the abilities that you have that are active within the month of June. You're able to obtain the benefits from all of those specific skills. But what you're not using are these skills over here. Black is time out. Red is the energy to get out and do things. Purple is all about healing. It's about making changes. Brown is all about planning. It's all about being able to set goals. Grey is all about confusion, and also encompasses the ability to see things from very many different points of view. And cyan is all about peace and contentment and absolute bliss. So what do you do about this? Well, if you take whichever of these 6 colours is the most appealing, and then the one that is least appealing, and add them into your life in some measure, so that you are able to move forward. When you get to this new life stage here, you can then take on a different path that doesn't lead you all the way around back to where you were at the start. Let's see what the Oracle has to say on the subject, shall we? What you have here is the Oracle, which is called teaching. The life's purpose says you inspire young people to learn, being that Queen of Swords energy that is the demanding that comes with being a baby in psychological terms, allows you to connect easily with others of the same ilk. It's a lovely message to lead you through the month of June. So that's it for your birthday month for the month of June 2025. I hope you've gotten something out of this reading that is of benefit to you. And if you follow along with the advice given, maybe, just maybe, your month of June will turn out to be far more wonderful than you expected. In the meantime, may the colours of your life bring you joy, happiness, and all of those wonderful things that you want for yourself. Until next time, bye.